on to the next step. Started this in 2018. Went down and got an award the same year from, I forget the name of it, but anyways, I've taught and apprenticed approximately 400 students. We'd never had anything in place to fund any of that, so I just took them on and basically told them to commit to going through 4 years of training. Liana was one of my apprentices at one time. Now she's gone off on her own and moved way further ahead than I ever have. So quite proud to have her as one of my students. So out of statistics in art school, they talk about 2 people out of 100 will do anything with this, will take this education on and make a career out of it and make a commitment to step forward and do it. So out of 400 students, Liana, my daughter Morgan, lives down in Vancouver now, Luke Parnell, he has his master's degree now in education. My cousin Roger Gray came and worked with me. He went into animation and he ended up having a big family, so he ended up having to get a job right away to work and support his family. So at that point in time, for my research, I went through 14,000 years of history, 22,000 pages of documents, files, PDFs, books, genealogy charts, hereditary governance structure, 14 social status levels, the crests. I compiled 600 digital images. So we wanted to, when I first got into this carving and art, there was nothing much around. There was no artists, there was no carvers to go to learn from and train. So I took my training wherever I could. I worked with Don Yeomans when I was in grade 9. Worked as a salmon fisherman, gill netter, troller. I fished with my uncles and my grandfather when I was growing up. Then worked in the logging camp. Worked for BC Hydro, just about joined the military. I had a job lined up to probably spend my whole career doing underground mining. Residential school, I got beaten into a coma down there. Then when I was 21, happened again, so twice. I just about drowned twice as a kid. So I'm fortunate that I'm here. That I always wondered why they call people survivors that went to residential school. So I guess I can kind of put myself into that. So I did ancestral name, genealogy, did have a record of all the house groups, but I haven't gone through them all yet. And it's going to take quite a bit of time. Hopefully we'll be able to get to a point in time where we can form a group together, we can get funding. I bought myself a Megatank printer 4 years ago now. Started printing like crazy because I got tired of paying $50-$60 for a 300-page PDF down to printers. So I spent the money and bought myself a Megatank printer. And one bottle of ink prints 11,000 pages of black and white. So when I got through, I went crazy on that, and I printed out this whole library of stuff, and then I said, holy crap, I don't have any room for any of this stuff anymore. So I got approximately 2 terabytes of information on different flash drives, and none of them are backed up right now. So this is why it's important that let's start something, let's do something. We need some technical people to assist in doing this. So the other stuff I've done, baseline for the DNA genetic haplotypes, I've done pretty much all of them, so we know who we're interrelated to genetically amongst pretty much the whole coast, and where they originated from, their timelines for inception. Genetic haplotype A goes back 26,000 years, and the other ones are the older ones. So I've done charts, gone through paleo environments. What was it like when our ancestors first arrived here? Well, it was -11 year around here. Daylight was short. When they talk about Raven and the box of daylight, they're talking about 6,000 years ago. Well, the Nisgaas were known as Wadlingigat then, people who dwelt in caves and lived in darkness. And then Raven brought light to the world. It was a meteorite that hit off of Hudson Bay, changed the elliptical course of the Earth. So the environment started warming, and the days started getting longer. It started warming up. Then the first cedar tree arrives at 6,000 years. Paleo environments, migrations, the timelines for all of them. Salmon husbandry, how they manage the rivers, creeks, land and marine tenure. There's a lot of information written in the 50s and 60s about land tenure, and there's a lot of backup information from the Tlinkits. One good thing they did with the Tlingit, when they, these corporate enterprises, they decided to, let's put money into recording a lot of our elders. We've got some, but we need to put a lot of it together. So they've done some really awesome research into a lot of her cultural history. And we missed out because a generation of our grandparents and great-grandparents, a lot of their information wasn't recorded, only lived on through word of mouth. So now we're moving on to songs. Right now we have approximately 225 songs, and Joanne was part of this. We found them in a garage sale. I've got a catalog for a lot of the songs. They're working on a 3-year project. Maybe you could talk a bit about it if you haven't already. The O'Dane Foundation built a museum up in Whistler. Michael O'Dane, he's like a multi-billionaire. They want to find out what's his art all about, what's the basis of it, where was it birthed at, what exactly does it mean? So they committed to $6 million to scholars from UBC to look into it, to do exactly a lot of the same work that I'm doing here right now. But they're just in kind of the primary stages, so I think I'm quite a few years ahead of them. But they have a whole staff of people working for them. So that memorial to residential school during reconciliation that Lana Olga E. Dunsu, Jim Hart put up out of UBC. He's the one that put the bill for it. 1.4 million they paid him for it. 62-foot pole. And this is just some of the curriculum that I wrote up. This was stuff that I started back in 2005. And we'll get into any of the details of some of the conflicts that happened over that. But Northwest Coast Art and Culture. So I've compiled a list of cultural centers, institutions, individuals, schools, colleges, universities, compiled educational and cultural programs for them, put a list of instructors, mentors, teachers, all the academics, researchers, and anthropologists. So I've done a profile of them. Some of these books don't have them. I have a lot of, I think I have 12 bins of books, but most of them are in storage right now. So I did preliminary drafts and versions of ideas, initiatives, projects. That's what you saw earlier. Art, culture, language, protocol, songs, programs, and curriculum development. I did the foundational curriculum. Now I need help to develop all the rest of it, which includes language, our hereditary structure, our laws, more of the complex stuff that needs to be retaught amongst our nation again. When I talked to Tsm'syen at Taiwan, James Mackey Robinson, had an extensive conversation with him, and I basically coined the phrase smug at 101. He said, yeah, I agree with you after what you told me. He said, we really do need to really relearn a lot of our history, our cultural prerogatives, our lineages and timelines. And he said, even though he's been taught as much as he has, he's realized that over a period of time, a lot of the stuff has kind of drifted away from him. So.
I think it's really important to acknowledge that, but also to acknowledge that there's no shame in that. They tried to kill us, for God's sake. We are lucky to have what we have, and we need to really look for and find and keep what we have. That's the importance of the work you've done, Henry. So I just really appreciate you doing all this work so that we can do something with it. It's how are we going to proceed with love and respect for each other and our traditional ways of conducting ourselves among ourselves with respect and love, right? Like Ariel, like our traditional laws, like how we walk beside each other and how we walk together, and those really important things, right?
Yeah.
So,
good point. You're well spoken on that. Thank you.